A truck driver in a crash that killed a Pennsylvania state trooper should not have been in this country. The feds say a Haitian national living in Massachusetts veered his semi off Interstate 81 last week and hit Trooper Michael Pahira Jr. DHS says that driver lost his parole status last year and was ordered to leave the U.S. CB Cotton has more on this tragic story. CB.
Hey, John. So investigators say this past Wednesday, Michael Bond, an illegal immigrant from Haiti, was driving that tractor trailer, which veered off onto the shoulder of Interstate 81 in Schuylkill County, Pennsylvania, crashing into another semi and fatally striking state trooper Mike Pahira, who was conducting another commercial vehicle inspection. Bond now faces a slew of charges for this chain reaction crash, including homicide by vehicle. DHS tells Fox Bond entered the U.S. in July 2024 under the Biden administration's humanitarian parole program, later applying for temporary protected status, but his application was denied. Federal sources tell Fox the Trump administration then terminated his legal status in June 2025 and ordered him to leave the country, but he didn't. Now ICE has lodged a detainer for Bond. On Wednesday, Governor Josh Shapiro remembering Trooper Pahira as a dedicated public servant who loved documentaries, modifying cars, and cooking. The governor said the trooper had just moved back in with his parents to help care for his mom undergoing cancer treatment.
As I said, his mom is battling cancer, and Mike, just in the last few days, helped her shave her head as she is going through her treatments. He was a loving son, and he was kind and gentle.
So Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy has taken a series of steps to crack down on commercial driver's licenses issued to non-citizens. In this case, Sean, it appears the suspect fell into a gap between old policy and new ones. Fox Digital reporting from the Massachusetts Registry of Motor Vehicles that Bond got a non-domiciled commercial driver's license from the state in March 2025 when he was qualified and was authorized to work under federal law, and his license was renewed in February 2026 before the Trump administration directed states to stop issuing or renewing non-domiciled CDLs for drivers without legal status. We did just get information, John, and it does seem like this is a case of bad timing because we're told that if Bond had applied for a renewal next year, he would have been rejected in accordance with the new federal policies. John, I also want to mention that according to our tracking, since summer 2024, there have been at least 6 deadly crashes involving illegal immigrant commercial truck drivers. Back to you.
What a sad story. CB Cotton. CB, thank you. For more on this, let's bring in Lora Ries, director of the Border and Immigration Center at the Heritage Foundation. Give us a sense, Laura, of the scale of the problem. There have been a number of states that have been issuing driver's licenses, commercial driver's licenses, CDLs, to illegal immigrants.
Yes, non-domicile commercial driver's licenses, and there's still a number of states that continue to do so and are under review by the Department of Transportation. This kind of coincides with sanctuary policies by these same political leaders in states that wouldn't surprise you. New York and Massachusetts are 2 examples, and in this case, unfortunately, it was Massachusetts that issued this commercial driver's license. The facts in this case are devastating and compounded. This alien should not have been in the country. He entered in 2024 under Joe Biden's unauthorized illegal mass parole program, immigration parole program, which Secretary Mayorkas started. He had no authority to do so. Parole is supposed to be temporary, very limited for urgent humanitarian reasons, and no work authorization exists in the statute for someone who is paroled, which is logical because someone here urgently for, say, emergency surgery or to testify in a trial has no reason to receive work authorization. And yet Secretary Mayorkas handed out work authorization like candy. And it was that work authorization that Massachusetts issued the commercial driver's license. So everything about this is is egregious. He had ill-gotten immigration benefits and downstream state and local benefits compounded on that. It's one of the reasons we continue to call for mass deportations beyond just the worst of the worst. Americans are tired of so-called non-criminal aliens staying here in the U.S. and killing Americans.
Yeah.
Those aliens who receive these unauthorized benefits should be prioritized for deportations as well.
This is not a one-off. There's a Haitian truck driver who killed an EMT worker in Wyoming and badly injured her partner when he smashed into their ambulance alongside I-80 4 years ago. He was recently appealing his conviction, which came a couple of months back. We're scrolling the list of some of those who have been involved, victims of truck crashes involving illegal immigrant drivers. And it's just, you know, a lot of people say, oh, open borders doesn't really hurt anybody. Well, ask any of the families who lost loved ones in these crashes.
That's exactly right. These were avoidable, preventable tragedies. And unfortunately, the trucking industry is something that still needs a lot of work. It could use some worksite enforcement from ICE, frankly, Department of Homeland Security, to go after the companies who continue to hire illegal alien drivers and the schools who are issuing these degrees to such drivers as well.
Yeah, California is another one of those states that's been handing out those CDL licenses a little bit like candy. Lora Ries, we have to say goodbye. Thank you.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.